boat 3 years ago. You can see in this photo that the teak work on the topside was in pretty rough shape. So last year I finished everything, and this year I just did another few top-up coats. Here's a photo of the grab rail that you just saw after applying several coats and taking everything down to the raw wood again previous to that. So to be sure, last year that the varnish adhered properly to the teak, what I did was I heat stripped everything off, all the old varnish, then sanded everything down with a rough grit and finer grits until everything was done. It's like 90% prep work, 10% application. I guess that's the ratio. And one of the things I did once the wood was prepped is research how to properly apply new varnish to the teak that's all been prepared. So the first coat I applied was 50% varnish and 50% mineral spirits. So by applying it very thin like that, it actually sucked right into the grain of the wood. I let it completely dry, and then I used 220 sandpaper to take off any burrs or imperfections and to prepare it for the next coat. The next coat I did was 75% varnish and 25% mineral spirits. Again, I would let it dry, sanded it, and my third coat was the same ratio, again with the sanding. And my last 3 coats were 100% varnish and sanding in between each coat as well. And by doing that, I think I've got a good base for that full varnish to adhere to, and I think that's going to prevent any of this varnish from peeling. So everything you're looking at now in the photos and the video, this was all done a year ago, and this year I just applied 2 more coats on most of the surfaces, and I did 3 on some of the other ones, sanding in between each coat again. So it really held up well for the first year, and now with the extra coats on that I put on this summer, I think it should be good for a few years. That's my hope. And when doing this work, it's really important to obviously tape everything off, and there was a lot of old varnish that was actually on my gel coat, so I had to scrape all that off with a sharp blade, just carefully obviously. But by doing all the prep work and taking a lot of time in preparation, I think I will be happy with this for a lot longer. I didn't just slap it on and try to cut it in, and I think it's going to adhere well enough that next year maybe I'll put 1 coat or 2 coats, or maybe nothing if it still looks good. So I don't have a lot of woodwork on the boat, but there are a few spots that have some nice teak, and it's nice to have that all looking good. So there you have it. That's the mixture I used, and it seems to be holding up well so far. It's been about 1 year and 3 months since I actually redid everything right down to the raw wood, and I'll see how it holds up till next year.